Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to ACS Sneakers. My name is Aiden. On today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the Air Max 90 Pirate Radio in the navy red colourway. Now, before we get into that, I want to say a massive thank you to my returning viewers. Thank you as always for supporting me and this channel. And to any new viewers, welcome to the channel. We do release brand new sneaker content just like this each and every week. So do make sure to smash that subscribe button, hit that bell notification as well so you never miss a video. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the intro. So before we do go ahead and get into the review itself, let's just go ahead and take a quick look at the box. As you can see, we just get that bog standard Nike cardboard box. So I'm not going to bore any of you guys with those details. If we take a quick look at the label, which reads Air Max 90 NRG in the deep royal blue LT smoke grey colourway. Now, I'm not sure if the camera is going to pick up the size label, but as you can see, this is a personal pair as it is a UK size 9. And if we just now go ahead and get straight into the shoe. Now, before we do go ahead and get into my review of this shoe, I want to let you guys know, for anyone that doesn't already know, that I recently reviewed the Air Max 90 Pirate Radio in the white colourway. Now, on that video, I went into detail basically describing the key inspiration for this shoe and the Pirate Radio theme was Pirate Radio from the 1960s. It actually turns out that this actual shoe, and that shoe as well, is inspired by 1990s Pirate Radio, where they was featuring jungle music, D&B and grime. Now, when I was doing my research for that video, I believe it was either Sneaker News or Sneaker Files that related it back to the 1960s rather than the 1990s. But when you actually think about it, this is a Air Max 90. It makes more sense to relate to the 1990s than the 1960s. So I want to give a huge shout out to two of my viewers from that video who actually helped me understand a little bit more about the design and a little bit more about the inspiration. So a huge shout out to DJ Apollo as well as Bollocks to Username. It's a great username, by the way. My comment section is always open for constructive criticism, any information that I miss, or anything that is a key detail about the shoe. If we can get discussions going on every single video, that would be absolutely incredible. So huge shout out to you two again. If anybody has any more information on, what actually inspired Pirate Radio from the 1990s, I'm, a 90s kid. I was born in 96, so I kind of feel like I missed that phase when it went into the early 2000s. In the early 2000s, I was watching Tweenies and Thomas the Tank Engine, so I really don't know much about that era. So if you guys do, make sure to leave me a comment in the comment section below. And now let's go ahead and get straight into my review. So starting with the toe box, as you can see, we have this really nice silver netted mesh material. Now, I'm going to be completely honest, in comparison to the previous Pirate Radio shoe that we actually reviewed, on that one, we actually saw a really nice, more premium leather on the toe box. And although in most cases I personally prefer mesh on the toe box because it doesn't crease, on this occasion it just doesn't have that same premium feeling underhand. It has a really rough texture overall and it's really interesting. I've never seen anything quite like this on an Air Max 90 before. I do think it's decent enough for what it's worth for this shoe, but as you can see on this side, there's already some kind of creasing. That could actually be attributed to the, the laces because it is quite tightly laced just as the factory setting. But I kind of feel like because of the fact that we have this netting, it's a lot more visible than what it would be if it was just some standard mesh. It's not that much of an issue, and if you're not really bothered about creasing, if you're just wanting to wear this shoe for everyday lifestyle purposes, it probably won't come up and it probably won't be an issue. And then around the toe box itself, we actually have this really nice buttery smooth navy leather material. This can also be seen up the mudguard as well. If we then just move further back the shoe itself, as you can see, we have this really nice silver embroidered Nike swoosh on both the lateral and medial sides. Now, I was pleasantly surprised to see that this was actually embroidered instead of just any kind of leather material. For me personally, it just adds a more premium aesthetic look to the shoe, and I think it just blends together really well in terms of the upper. Moving slightly further back, you can see that we do have this red TPU Air Max branding. Once again, that can be seen on both the lateral and medial sides. And now moving down to the midsole, we have this primarily white midsole with the red accent towards the heel with the exposed air unit. Moving underfoot now, starting with the left shoe, as you can see, we have a primarily iced out outsole with the iconic skull branding on the left foot. Moving over then to the right shoe, as you can see, we have once again that primarily iced out outsole. This time it is a Radio Shack with an antenna as far as I can tell. And now moving back up the shoe, in the centre of the shoe itself, we do have these flat white shoelaces. Now, if you do want to mix it up a little bit, you do actually get an additional set of laces with the shoe itself. I do actually think that these are wax laces. I'm not entirely sure if they are, but they definitely do have a different feeling and look to them underhand than what we see in the actual factory setting. Personally, for me, if you're asking my opinion, I do think that the actual white laces will work best, but if you do want to mix it up a bit, it is always nice to have an additional set of laces on hand. As we now move up the laces themselves, on both the lateral and medial sides, we do have a red and navy blue TPU eye stay. Now, I've heard a lot of people comparing this colourway to the Union flag and mixing that with the pirate radio theme. Personally, I just think it works together incredibly well. On the actual laces as well, we do get this hang tag in the centre. We have the 90 detailing along with the Nike swoosh. Now, the laces themselves do actually sit atop this navy nylon tongue, and in the centre of the tongue itself, we do have the Nike Air Max branding. And now moving over to the ankle collar of the shoe, wrapping right the way around, we do have this silver mesh material. Inside the shoe itself, as far as the sock liner goes, we do have this primarily navy blue colour. Now, when it does come to the Air Max 90 model, there's very moderate padding, but it's always been a shoe that I found extremely comfortable to wear all day, every day. And the Air Max 90 is definitely my go-to in my collection. In terms of sizing, whenever I do pick up an Air Max 90, I personally always do go true to size. If you are looking for any sizing recommendations, I personally would recommend that you do go true to size as well. However, if you do have the opportunity to try out a shoe before buying, I would highly recommend you do so, just so you can understand the best fit for you. Taking a look now at the insole of the shoe, we have this primarily navy blue insole with the white Nike Air branding. And now just to swing over to the heel of the shoe. On the heel, we do have this red TPU heel plate with the medium airways in the centre, Nike swoosh and Air branding. This is definitely my favourite feature on both colourways. I just think it stands out incredibly well. And as I touched on my previous video, if you are wearing this with jeans, you're probably not going to be able to see it. But when you actually do get it up close, it's just one of those details that I'm a huge fan of. And this is definitely the key reason as to why I wanted to pick up this colourway as well. Now, surprisingly, this shoe did actually sell out incredibly quick on Sneakers app. And as far as I can see, I haven't been able to find this shoe anywhere else. According to my research, there are going to be some upcoming raffles. Hopefully I'll have this video out in time. I will leave a link in my description area below to any available raffles that are going to be available to you after the video is released. So if you are interested in picking up this shoe, do make sure to enter as many raffles as possible. I'm not exactly sure what the stock's like for this particular shoe. When it comes to GR Air Max 90s, they're always readily available. But when it comes to this shoe, I've actually not seen many people actually have it. So in that respect, it's kind of up and down at the minute. This isn't even on StockX at the time of recording, which is just incredibly weird in my opinion. This is actually available on Go, so if you do miss on raffle, do head over to Go if you do want to pick up a pair. Now that just about wraps up the overview of the shoe itself, so now let's go ahead and get into my opinions on the shoe. So just to summarise in terms of my overall opinion on the shoe itself, I do give the Nike Air Max 90 Pirate Radio in the navy red colourway a very respectable 8 out of 10. This for me is definitely a much more wearable shoe than what we saw with the white colourway. This is something you can actually wear in a lot more different conditions than what you would be able to with that white shoe. And I do think in that respect, it is just a lot easier to actually have in the collection and just be able to wear as almost like an everyday wear. And that is definitely something that I do have to take into consideration whenever I do give my ratings for any of these shoes. I'd love to know what you guys think as well, so do make sure to leave me a comment in the comment section below. If you've stuck around to this point in the video, I truly do appreciate it. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, make sure that bell notification is switched on so you never miss a video, and I hope to see you all again in the next one.